Hi, everyone. It's been a while, huh? I know a lot of us, myself included, are in school and doing other stuff, but I wanted to give a little project update and recap for Dawn City Heist. So, for those of you who have been working on the project or were back over the summer when we were pretty active, or if you are new to the project and really wanted to know what we got done and what it was all about, this is the stream for you. So I'll get right into it. I'll jump into just a recap of what Dawn City Heist is and what our overall kind of plan for it was. So if you'll remember, we first started off with just like a project page description, and we did a little intro stream with one example level, and that's all we had. So Dawn City Heist, at its core, is a stealth game, a sci-fi heist game. And I'll show the project page here on the Endless Studios website. So you can always check this, and we've got all the information for it here. Even if there's no active tasks, you can always check back to look at the information here. But just as a recap, Dawn City Heist is a sci-fi health stealth. Wow, sci-fi stealth adventure where you are trying to steal treasure from like this high-tech facility where there's patrolling drones that are looking at you and trying to chase you down, and you're trying to be sneaky and hide and get away without being caught. So this started off with just one example level, like I said, and we kind of opened it up to you guys, our participants, to make your own levels for it and play test those levels and give feedback about what you thought was good and what you didn't like so much. And then we started with level building. So I'm going to pull up our game design document, which this was in our task descriptions as a resource for you guys. And you can also check back on this if you want to look at the information about the game. I believe there's a link in Discord somewhere. If not, feel free to ping me and I can drop the link again. But this game design document has basically a record of all of our process and the information about what kind of game this is trying to be. So we have like the concept, the overview, we have information about the story and gameplay, and then down here near the bottom, we have a list of levels that people created. And I'll get into these a little bit more because I want to just remind you guys of what we all accomplished and what kind of content we created while we were active. So before I do that, I'm also going to hop over to our YouTube channel and remind you guys that all of these videos, all the streams that we've done so far are up here for you guys to watch. So there's a Dawn City Heist playlist, which has all the streams that we've done so far, including this one down here. So if you want to go back and check out, oh, I missed that stream, or I wanted to rewatch that presentation about gray boxing, that's all here for you guys. So anyway, let's take a look at the project roadmap and remember what we did first. So the first sprint was our concept development sprint, and that was just getting an idea of what kind of game this is. Okay, sci-fi stealth. This is a first-person stealth game. And we kind of looked at some comparable games. In this case, it was games like Thief and Dishonored, which are our first-person stealth games where you're kind of stealing things and hiding from enemies. And we asked you guys to play those games and then send in kind of playtest information and what your thoughts were about that kind of game and what kind of things you think could be included in Dawn City Heist that you liked from those games. So I did a live playtest stream, which you can watch on our YouTube channel, of Dishonored, which is a pretty fun game, and I highly recommend that if you're interested in this kind of game. And then once we were all familiar with the kind of game that we were trying to make, we went into gray boxing, which gray boxing, as just a little reminder, is like making a rough draft of a level. It's using primitive basic objects to make the layout and get a sense of like how big you want things and where you might want enemies and generally what kind of a level it's going to be without getting into like the really high resolution assets and making it look super cool and sci-fi spacey with all the robots and the textures on the walls. It's just blank shapes without any color or texture on them. But you still get an idea of how it plays and you can still test it, which is super important. So I want to take a minute to kind of celebrate the contributions we got when we opened the playtesting task, or gray boxing task. So we got a total of 4 gray boxes. We got the one that I did over the course of several streams, which is rooftops. We got tower from Brian. We got melodies level, and we got mansion, which I also did over stream. So I'm actually going to hop into the endless mission and take a look at some of these. So on the content portal here in the endless mission, we can actually see all of the levels that were created over the course of this project. We can see the very beginning, the example level, and you can still play this if you like. And then we also have all of our levels that came in over the course of this. So I'll go through each of these. Let's even look at DCH test, which wasn't really a true gray box. It was just kind of an example prototype that was made by Dan, who's another lead on this project, and just kind of get a sense of what people can make in the world of Dawn City Heist. So the whole idea for this project is that, and also all the projects on the Endless Studios portal, is that these are things that you guys as participants are collaborating on and contributing to. You're helping us make the game. So it's really, really cool to see all of the contributions that people make, and they're building levels for games to fit in with this whole concept of Dawn City Heist. So once this loads up, we can kind of see this level doesn't really have gameplay built in, really, but it has some really cool visuals, and it really gives you an idea of some of the cool things you can make with the universe and the setting of Dawn City Heist. So stuff like this, with all the lighting, and over here it is basic shapes, but the lights are pretty atmospheric. So you really get a sense for the space, even though there's not a ton of detail on these assets. There's also, I think Dan was mentioning that this was a bug. There's this coin that's just kind of floating in a circle, which is very strange and jarring, but that's another thing that level prototypes are really good for, is getting a sense for where the bugs are and what might need fixing when you actually build the level in full. So let's look at our other gray box levels that we got. I'll hop into DCH Tower, which this one's a full level that you can play all the way through. And it's really interesting. It's got this kind of vertical theme where you're going up level by level in this tower. So you can get the key here. And I think, yep, I can just hop right in here. And there's drones on all these levels. There's a bunch of different parts of this that you can go to. I think some of the assets may be a little bit bugged right now, because I can't see the red vision cone on the drones. But it looks like they can see you, because that guy was chasing me for a second. And there's coins. So this really has all of the bones that a Dawn City Heist level needs to be fully playable. Coins that I can get. There's drones flying around. I think I can get caught. I'm not careful. Go over here and try and get this coin. Move up to the next level. Me. So normally the vision cone would turn red while he's chasing you, but in that case it didn't. I think it's just a bug with the asset. So, but yeah, I can get caught, and if I get caught, I get sent to the start of the level, and I have to start again. So that's this is just an example of the whole loop of Dawn City Heist and the kind of things that you guys can build. There's windows and stuff. I thought this was a pretty cool prototype. Oh, he saw me. I'm gonna run. Nah, got me. Oh, and he got me a lot. That looks like another bug. Even so, that's part of the point of these gray box levels, is that even if they're buggy, they're playable and testable, and we can find things like that before we put a bunch of really nice professional assets on it. So I'll go into rooftops, which is one that I made over stream. And I did several level development streams where I kind of went over the process that I took to build out these shapes and put the enemies in and make sure that it was working and looking the way I wanted it to. And you can go back and rewatch those streams anytime you want. So here we go. Here's Oni, can talk to her. She's got dialogue. and she will take off. Now I can hop up here. And even though it's all just white primitive shapes, like I was saying, you can kind of get a sense for what this level is going to be and what the flow of it is. Carefully avoid this patrolling drone. I'll hide in here. For him to move past so I can sneak around. And in a later stream, I actually went over the next step of this process, which is building a full level out of this with actual nice looking assets. So that'll be the last thing I show off, because that's about where we left off. Whoop, popped out too soon and landed right on him. So there's all kinds of things that people can create for Dawn City Heist. You can do indoor stuff, outdoor stuff, and really the limitations are just your imagination. I'm really excited to see more levels as more people start to participate on this. Even though we are kind of on a break at the moment, but so there's the exit. I'm just gonna run over there, even though I haven't gotten everything yet. I'll follow this guy, be right on his tail. Around, so I'm gonna hide in here. Over to the exit. Oh, the exit key. Okay. Let's see. Just hop in here and wait for him to go past. And now I can make it out. So I'm just going to show the other gray box levels that we had. This one was from Melody, which is super awesome. This is an example of like one of the ones who's not on the Endless Studios team making a level. So this one's got kind of trails of coins for you to follow, and a really unique part here where there's two, and right in the middle there's a hiding spot. So this is an interesting kind of timing puzzle for you to sneak past and get in here before they catch you. That was neat. And one of the things that we use gray boxes for is to test for things like the size of the rooms. So here you can see, you can just walk along the edge, like alongside this wall, and the drone can't get you because the vision cone isn't wide enough. So that's something to maybe work on in the future, and why we make these levels in the first place. The coins and a key and a door over here. You can get into this room, another trail of coins. And even though, I've said this multiple times, but like even though this is just gray or white boxes and basic shapes, there's a lot you can do with building this into a full level. So there's one more level, which is Mansion, and this was, I think, the very last one that I did in level building streams. And this one, the idea was kind of, it's like a fancy, expensive mansion, and there's like 2 floors and a set of stairs in the middle. So there's coins. That's what these all share, is that they all have the basic gameplay, but they're not quite... They're not at a state where you would recognize, oh, okay, this is like Dawn City, but they will be, and that's where it gets fun. Well, for me, I really like building full levels, and that's where we go after the playtesting phase. I guess those are the levels that we got, and that's kind of the gist of it. We got a bunch of contributions there. I personally thought it was really fun to see all of those come in, and to get your guys' input and to be able to playtest those, which was the next phase that we went into. So if we take a look back here at the project roadmap, we after we went into the gray boxing sprint, we got to the playtest sprint, which is where we take all of those gray boxes that we got and just play through them, kind of like I just was, but really trying to play as a player and not as a designer. So in game development, playtesting is super, super crucial. If a game doesn't get playtested, there will definitely be bugs. There will definitely be things that players find weird or confusing, and it's just not going to be as fun or as enjoyable to play as it would be if you'd gotten that feedback and been able to make changes to make it a better experience. So this is a really important thing, and also something that even if you're not interested in designing or making art or making music, you can playtest. Anybody can playtest. So what we did was in the GDD, we compiled all of these levels that we got, and we opened up a playtesting form for people to enter the information from their test. So we would have people play the games, and they would open up the form and record all the information, all their thoughts and feelings about it. And all the playtests that we got are attached to the levels here. So you can just open up the link and look at what people thought about this level. So we had all these forms, and this is like industry standard. This is something that happens in the actual game development industry. Like you will fill out playtest forms. You might run playtests and have other people fill out forms for you. So this is kind of like a good taste of what things are actually like. And we get both qualitative feedback, which is like describing your thoughts and feelings, anything you found especially satisfying, what was interesting, what was challenging. But we also have quantitative feedback, which is the numbers. And some people even submitted videos of them playing, in which case you could get the quantitative information of what were their stats, how many coins did they get in the level, how long did it take them to play the level. And all of that stuff is really important for improving it, because we can take this feedback and then we can go back to the levels and make those changes. And because they're gray box levels, it's a lot easier to make changes like that than if you had art, like if you had a terrain or walls that were all built into each other, and then you found out the room was too small and it needed to be bigger. It would be harder to make the change of making the room bigger if the room was built to be a specific size with all the art already in place. So we got a whole bunch of playtests, which is pretty cool. I did some on stream. You can watch those again on the YouTube channels. And then after all that playtesting, we move into level building, which personally, this is like one of my favorite parts of game design, is making the levels and making it look cool. So this is a process that repeats. You don't just do this once typically. You'll make a gray box level, then you test, then you make it look nice, then you test again, maybe some more bugs, or maybe players were confused now that you put something in, and then you keep working on it and keep testing. And that process is called iteration. So when we moved into the level building sprint, this is when we took some of those gray box levels, and I'll move back into the endless mission, and built them with the actual like really nice looking sci-fi assets. So the one that I did over the course of several streams was DCH Rooftops, and I'll play through this. So I just played a little bit of this just a few minutes ago, and that was the gray box version. And then I swapped out all the assets for things that looked cool and looked like they fit the universe of Dawn City. And then it's a full level that you get a much better sense for like where this game is and what kind of experience it's supposed to be. So now we've got lights, we've got walls and roofs, and I can hop up here to show all the buildings. So we have this kind of an industrial look. There's like buildings and kind of steel walkways with cables and things. And already you get to get a better sense of what kind of world this is supposed to be. Hop down, there's street lights. There's kind of these high-tech Conex things. And over here, there's a big interior space with some textures on it to make it look kind of sci-fi, spacey here. And now there's these like fog lights pointing down and making it look really dramatic. There's like a glass roof on top of here. So even though it's the same as the gray box from a gameplay standpoint, it looks and feels a lot different. And this process can take a long time, especially if you start getting really detail-oriented with it. But for the most part, we just want to suggest generally what kind of assets and things we want to be in this space and what we want the environment to feel like. Because we can go even further with it in the polish stage, which we have not gotten to for Dawn City Heist yet. So I'm going to take another look at the project roadmap and just kind of reiterate what the plan would be going forward with Dawn City Heist. So we have that one full level, which was rooftops, but there's still a bunch of gray boxes that haven't been built with assets yet. And I had started to do that, I think, for Tower, and I did a stream where I was building that, starting to put some assets in and make it look kind of different. But I was also doing gameplay changes, like making some of the drones work a little bit differently, because some playtest feedback was that the drones were too easy to avoid, or some of them moved in weird ways. And that stuff is just as important, if not more important, than adding in the nice looking assets. But so level building, taking the rest of those gray boxes and making them look really cool, like the rooftops level, that's our next step. And kind of simultaneously with that, we would want to do more playtesting, because that full level hasn't been playtested yet. So there's gameplay changes that were made for that as well in response to some of the playtest feedback that we got. And we would want to playtest again with the new changes to see how the level's working, how players feel about it, if it's feeling like the right amount of challenge, or if it's too easy or too hard, stuff like that. So we would do more level building, more playtesting, and just a lot of that, basically, because we want to build a bunch of levels for Dawn City Heist to make it like a big game experience where you can do a bunch of different heists and like pull off a lot of cool stealth missions. And we want to see your guys' contributions to that. So we want to see cool levels from your guys' imaginations. And then after that, we get into what is called polishing. We have this listed as the ship it sprint. So that phase is taking all the existing full levels with all their nice assets, and all the playtest feedback has been taken into consideration, and we've made all those changes. And then we make it look and feel even cooler. We put like special lighting and what's called set dressing, so putting extra props just for looks to make the environment feel real and interesting and immersive. And we might add buildings around the edges of the scene, make it feel like it's part of a bigger world, and making sure that there's no noticeable bugs and that the gameplay just feels really good. Because that's the final step before you ship it, before you publish the game and give it to other players as like official Dawn City Heist content. And the goal for this project is to have all of those really nice polished levels and publish them on the Endless Mission content portal as like an official Dawn City Heist set. So if you guys contribute to this with your levels and your polishing and your playtesting, then you will have helped publish a game that other players of the Endless Mission can play and engage in as kind of an official like set of things. And that's super cool, especially if you are interested in game development as a career. Making games and publishing them is a super big deal. Like the more of that you do, the better. So where are we now? We have all of those levels that I just went through. We have a bunch of playtest information for the gray box levels, so they're ready for people to go in and start building them as full levels. We have the one full level, but we're still waiting on full levels for DCH Tower, Melody's level, and DCH Mansion. And just as a reminder, it's not like one person can only build a full level for each one. You can build a full level for whichever one you want. Like, even if you didn't make the gray box for it, you're free to put your take on it with new assets. But building those full levels, doing another round of playtesting for them, and making polished levels are the steps that we have left to go. You may have noticed, though, you may have noticed that the project has kind of been pretty slow recently. And that's largely because a lot of our participants and a lot of our pro devs, myself included, are in school or have other stuff going on in their lives. So we're kind of taking a break right now. And I'll call this a project hiatus. So we are going to continue developing content for this. We are going to keep making full levels and polishing them and playtesting, and we will ship it and publish it on the content portal. But for now, we're taking a little break. So if maybe this project has been on the back of your mind and you're like, I'm in school and I want to contribute, but I don't have time and I haven't been able to think about it, totally fine. No worries. We will return. And we're not quite sure when that is, but in the future sometime we will resume activity and we'll be doing regular streams again and publishing updates and putting new tasks on the content portal. So keep an eye on your email and Discord for that kind of stuff. We'll let you know when we're back in business. But overall, I'm really proud of all of the content that everybody's created for Dawn City. We have a bunch of stuff that is just really cool, and there's lots of room for making really awesome levels and doing more awesome work. So a huge thank you to everybody who has contributed and watched all these streams and been active in our Discord. Super cool work that you guys have done. I'm really excited to been working on this project, and I think it'll be super cool to get it all published. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the future, and thank you very much for your work on Dawn City Heist.